77, coach of the Brisbane Heat-Trans, here with week 3 of the ICL. This week we're going up against Team Master and the New England Pyroars. His team consists of Tyranitar, Salamence, Roserade, Heracross, Ditto, Allrain, Mega Scizor, Excadrill, Gardevoir, Delphox, and Dusclops. So as we can see, he does have that Sandrush Excadrill, very threatening, but luckily I have a few checks to it, the main ones being Tangrowth, Suicune, and Hitmontop. So yeah, I was very surprised when I saw that he actually did bring a Sandrush Excadrill, or Excadrill with T-Tar. I was more afraid of his special threats, Gardevoir and Delphox in particular, but yeah, luckily I have with Delphox and Gardevoir, they have to be scarfed to deal to be able to outspeed my threats like Sneasel, Dugtrio, and Greninja, but just for them to be effective, otherwise they can be fairly easily revenge killed. But if they are scarfed, I have enough bulk on my side to deal with it. So while I was wary of them, I just had to figure out which set they were, either Specs or Scarf or whatever item. Carmine Leftovers was a possibility, a fairly good one, but I feel like I had ways to deal with them, no matter what set they brought. So what I brought, Resto Chesto Suicune with Scald, Ice Beam, and Calm Mind. Ice Beam was really there for the Salamence, if I had to revenge it. With Suicune, if it had been set up to +1, I couldn't kill it with Ice Shard. With Sneasel, I could get off some chip damage with Suicune's Ice Beam, weaken it or burn its Yachi Berry, and then revenge it with Sneasel. Physically defensive. Focus Sash, Dugtrio with Earthquake, Sucker Punch, Aerial Ace, and Memento. Memento really there just because I didn't feel like I need another move. I could have gone with Reversal, but this Dugtrio's job wasn't really meant to take on the T-Tar, and Earthquake would take out Excadrill and Aerial Aces for the Heracross. Zapdos, especially defensive Zapdos with Charty Berry, Roost, T-Wave, and Asphalt Switch. Thunderwave was just to slow his faster threats down. If anything was scarfed, it'd be able to slow it down. Heatwave was to be able to take a rock move from either Excadrill or Heracross and hit it back very hard, or fairly hard, with a Heatwave. Heatran with a Sugar Berry, modest max attack, Stealth Rocks, Flame Charge, Flash Cannon, and Earth Power. This was here to set up rocks because I needed rocks to deal, just to pressure his team a little bit. They're mainly for the Delphox, so I can secure a kill with Dugtrio. His team is fairly weak to Heatran's stabs, even though I didn't bring Fire Blast or Flamethrower, because I didn't want to get walled by the Delphox. Because, like I said, I felt like Delphox that's why I put Earth Power on it instead. Flame Charge was just to get a bit of speed, to outspeed stuff and things. Physically defensive, Hitmontop with Rapid Spin, Close Combat, Sucker Punch, and Toxic. Yeah, fairly self-explanatory moves. Leftovers, Sucker Punch just to get off a last-ditch effort before I die. Toxic to just pressure his walls. And a Life Orb Sneasel. Max attack, Ice Shard, Knockoff, Low Kick, and Icicle Crash. Yeah, Knockoff did enough to Gardevoir, so I didn't feel like I needed Poison Jab. So Low Kick, yeah, so I pack Low Kick instead to take on the T-Tar a little bit better. Looking at what he brought, very happy not to see the Delphox. And even though he brought the Sand Rush Excadrill, I have Suicune, I have Hitmontop to be able to take that on. I also didn't bring the Ditto, which I'm pretty happy about. And yeah, the only thing that I was really scared about was the Heracross, because Choice Banded Heracross doesn't have switch-ins. If he predicts correctly, he can two-shot my entire team with the right set. Well, yeah, if he predicts correctly. So for that reason, I led off with Suicune, because I can at least take a hit and possibly snag a burn. He can two-hit KO me with Close Combat. But you know, if he does go for Close Combat, I'm able to get off a fairly powerful Skull because of the drop and possibly snag a burn. But in any case, the Skull damage should be enough where, you know, Dugtrio can revenge it easily with the Aerial Ace. So I lead off with Suicune. As we see, he leads off with Walrein, which is okay with me especially if he doesn't have Raw. If he doesn't have Raw, then I just set up all over this thing. So turn 1 he goes for Toxic, which is fair enough. A Toxic Suicune is easier to deal with. But as you see, turn 2 he goes for Surf, not revealing or not going for Raw, which pretty much told me he didn't have Raw. So that's okay with me, that's perfect for me. As I'm able to set up to a point where we can rest off all the damage, wake up, and now I have a +4 Suicune at full health, ready to wreck things. So I go for Skull, get the lucky turn 1 burn, as he goes for Surf there, instead of the Toxic for some reason. But my play was always I was always planning on resting if he ever Toxic me, as you see he does there, because I can basically get off a free rest and a free turn of, and I can burn a turn of sleep with the Walrein in, as we see he doesn't switch out, which means I get to burn an extra turn of sleep when he does indeed switch out into the Heracross. So here we get to see whether it is banded. 34% definitely not banded, and wake up able to kill the Heracross with a +4 Scald. Now here, this thing is pretty much set up fodder as well, as we see the Thunder Punch does 13%. And yeah, I go for the rest knowing that he will pain split me and get a lot of health back, but I didn't want to get revenge by EQ from Excadrill, and I think at this point I kind of was a bit impatient. So instead of actually continually resting and calm mining till I'm at +6, I decided to kill it instead. As we see, brings in the T-Tar instead of the Excadrill, which is interesting. And so I'm able to outspeed and get off a nice rest. As we see, he goes for a couple punches, probably going for the defense drops. But you know, at this point, I'm kind of tired of Suicune. Just doing Suicune things. So I just decide to sack it and get off a nice chunk of damage before it dies. Probably could have 6-0'd, but getting 6-0'd is very demoralizing, so I didn't do it. As yeah, we see I'm able to get up a Flame Charge and take a EQ thanks to my Sugar Berry, as we're able to get up to +1. He's for some reason sacks his Walrein, and now a lot of things just die. That crit might have mattered in the sense that it was a 50-50 roll, if it was if he had no HP, no defense, or no death rather. That roll was a 50-50 chance to kill, but I got the crit instead and secured the kill. I'm pretty sure I would have been able to take anything it wanted to throw at me, unless it was like HP ground or like a focus blast. Yeah, other than that, its dual stab wouldn't have been able to take me out. And now he's just left with Excadrill, which I can Earth Power and do a significant chunk of damage, and just be able to pick this thing off with Sneasel. So Sneasel getting the last kill, and we come out with a 4-0 win. Great game, Team Master. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and hope to see you guys next week.